Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a very special show today. And that special show is really just because Pat's not here. Welcome back to not really brand coverage. It's kind of just me yapping. So here's the agenda for today because Pat's not here and because I am solo dolo. Going to talk about just the general headlines of the past week, and then I'm kind of going to let you guys steer the show more or less. I'm going to read the comments, just answer questions. Big Q&A is what we're going to do here. I just want to talk to you guys about everything that has happened. I'm still trying to figure out how exactly I want my camera to be. I think I might put it over here. I have an adjustable desk here so I can raise it up and lower it. I think that feels right. That feels normal. Look, first things first, let's get this out of the way. Shout out my man John Cena, retiring, officially hanging it up. I know there's a lot of skeptical people out there, particularly those who are diehard, more so cynical wrestling fans who are like, he's not retiring. There's no way. He's going to wrestle some match eventually in Saudi Arabia because they're going to pay him too much. I think he's honestly done. Every other old wrestler who's said they were retiring and then, went back on it. First of all, none of them have ever been as psychotic as John Cena is, and two, none of them have had the acting career that Cena has. Cena doesn't need to come back to wrestle for money. So I do believe it's over. It was a great match, great event, enjoyed it all the way around, even the ending, which a lot of people didn't seem to like. Otherwise, in the NFL, obviously, we've got the Chiefs are just out of the playoffs, which is pretty sick. I did not think there was any chance on God's green earth that we were going to be sitting here before this is going to be week 15, before even week 15, and the Chiefs are just done. It's crazy, and then obviously the not cherry on top, because that makes it sound like it's a good thing, but it's not. I guess the add injury to insult part of it, Patrick Mahomes tears his ACL, Micah Parsons also tears his ACL, kind of a bad week for injuries. Sounds like Mahomes is going to be back in the normal sort of timeline for a torn ACL. It doesn't sound like he really did too much on top of it. I know he tore the LCL as well, but that doesn't necessarily add any time to the rehab or recovery. But yeah, definitely a crazy sort of, occurrence in the NFL this week to see the golden boy go down. But luckily it does sound like, he'll be back, if not for the very, very beginning of next season, although I imagine he'll push it to try to be ready for it, shortly thereafter. And then Mike Parsons, just RIP to the Packers playoff hopes. That kind of sucks. Phillip Rivers is back. He almost won a game. That's wild. Good for him. Good for the Colts being able to protect him and then run most of that offense through Jonathan Taylor and kind of just let, Rivers pick his spots of when to throw and not ask him to do too much. He had a touchdown to Josh Downs. Phillip Rivers throwing a touchdown in the big 2-5 makes my heart grow 3 sizes. What else we got here? I guess let's just do this off the top. We've got Mount Studmore and Mount Bustmore for fantasy performances this week. This was kind of the funniest week for fantasy that I've seen in a long time, because so many of the guys that I have had faith in over the years and have kind of been forced to give up on after just years upon years of them not delivering. This was kind of not the coming out party, because I'm not so sure it's sustainable, but this was kind of the, a glimpse into what could have been. Trevor Lawrence, 44.3 points, 6 total touchdowns out of him. Kyle fucking Pitts with 40.1 fantasy points. He scored 7% of his career fantasy points in this game. I don't even know what to say. He is now, because tight end is such a, you don't have a lot of big performances throughout the years. It's kind of just guys scoring 8 to 12 seemingly every week. Because you don't generally get big chunk performances like this, Kyle Pitts is now the tight end 3 on the season. So that's awesome. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 34.9 points. Trey McBride, another big tight end performance, 31.4. And then Mount Bustmore, we've got Jahmyr Gibbs, 7.8. Justin Jefferson, 3.2. Joe Burrow, 5.5. And George Pickens, 4.8. So that's what I've got off the top. I'm going to let you guys steer the rest of the show. For those of you listening on audio platforms, Spotify, Apple, whatever after the fact, Not exactly sure how this show is going to come out and sound audio-wise because it's not going to necessarily flow as smoothly as when, it's just Pat and I talking back and forth and we have kind of our set topic. So, sit back, relax, enjoy, listen to us yap, listen to possibly some dead air here and there. I know that this is the biggest issue, and the reason I am doing this stream and show this way is because dead air is like a cardinal sin when you're doing a live stream or a TV show, whatever. Like, there always needs to be something going on, but I cannot physically speak for 90 minutes straight or even an hour straight. I need to have like kind of a buffer of, reading comments, thinking about your comments. So on an audio setting, that won't necessarily sound as good, but hey, if you guys stick with me, I appreciate it. And for those of you here live, let's chop it up. Let's see what's going on. Also, if you guys donate, that will guarantee I read your question. Donations are not mandatory, and I will be reading a lot of questions outside of the donations. But if we do end up getting just a large influx of questions, just know that the donated questions, because they are supporting this channel monetarily, will get priority. But I am still going to read a lot of the general questions as well. First, we've got Ragnarok with $10. Said, people who are mad at John Cena tapping out to Gunther are bums who don't know ball. Preach. That was the best thing to do for Gunther, who needs to be a real monster again, instead of guy who loses at Mania. I agree with you, man. I don't think there was anything wrong with Cena tapping out. I think people looked at it as, oh, it's Mr. Never Give Up giving up, and like that's just such a sad end to his career. And I don't think that's the case at all. Like, that it's not as black and white as, oh, John Cena gave up and is going against everything he used to stand for. It's this whole retirement run has been about him knowing when it's time, accepting that with grace, and getting out ahead of it before he is no longer the John Cena that he wants to be and, perform as a performer, or be able to perform at that level as a performer. So I think it was totally fine. It's like people are equating never give up to like, you have to just relentlessly keep doing things forever, even when it's past your time to do so. Like, I think if anything, he's showing a healthy way. He's showing people a healthy way of how to like accept when it's time. Like, the same people complaining about, oh, well, John Cena gave up, sound like they would say, you should continue with a job you don't like forever, because if you don't, then you're giving up. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm with you. I think it made perfect sense. It was a great bow on his career. Kalish Full with 199 said, Mike Evans or DK for the rest of the season? Ooh, that's a good question. I lean Mike Evans. I think DK, I know he just had that big game last night, but I don't think the consistency has really been there. Let me, I'm just going to pull up a little comparison real quick and see what we've got. DK's actually been better than I thought for the last month or so. I mean, 11.9, 4.7, 18.3, 13.0, and then we've got the Detroit Lions and the Cleveland Browns upcoming. So that's pretty solid there. Look, generally, I'm going to go with the guy who's not in the Arthur Smith offense. Yeah, I mean, Evans' first game back, 12 targets, 6 catches, 132. I'll take Mike Evans there all day. Omega with 199 said, do you think the Bengals want to talk about... I don't think the Bengals want to be alive. I don't even want to be around anymore. That's how I feel the Bengals are, is that they just don't even want to exist at this point, but they don't really have a choice. So... yeah, it's a rough go out here. Jack with 199 said Garrett Wilson or Breeze Hall at flex. Ooh, I like Breeze. Breeze would be kind of a dope name. Breeze is a cool name too, though. So I don't, so Garrett Wilson. Let me see what the latest is on him. I mean, I'm gonna lean. First of all, you having to start a jet when things apparently still matter is depressing. I'm probably gonna lean Breece Hall. So here's the latest on Garrett Wilson is that he won't have his window to resume practicing opened. This was by last Wednesday. Been on injured reserve since week 10. Unclear when or if that will occur. Yeah, I don't know that I would have a lot of faith in Garrett Wilson right now. I would go with Breece Hall. I mean, he's still getting a steady diet of touches. Like the last 2 weeks haven't been pretty, 4.3, 4.7, but 14 carries, 12 carries on top of 2 receptions and then no receptions against the Dolphins. Yeah, I think I'm still leaning Breece here. Any changes to the previous 2 tier list vids? Oh, I'm sure. Those videos are kind of, when you make a video that is meant to be sort of evergreen or is like touching on a topic that is like more long term, like, oh, which head coaches are going to be fired, which quarterbacks are going to be moved on from, you kind of understand that those are subject to change, and that anybody who's watching those videos a little bit later after they're posted is going to be like, this doesn't make any sense. So what the last 2 I posted were what? The real contenders, I guess, and the what was it? The head coaches being fired. I think those were the last 2. Let me check. I've actually been consistent with YouTube videos for the first time in like ever, so I'm actually losing track of which ones are which. Okay, yeah, which coaches will be fired after the season, and who are the real Super Bowl contenders. I don't think I'm going to change anything off of the Super Bowl contenders one. Off the top of my head, I know I had the Ravens in the maybe tier, and they came up with a win against the Bengals, so I feel good about that. I'm going to scroll to the end here and just see what I ended up with. Coaches fired, so I had Gannon, Taylor, Stefanski, Glenn, and Tomlin on the hot seat. I still feel good about that. I would say, so I guess I would probably move Mike McDaniel. Well, no, they lost. They were talking last night about how McDaniel might have saved his job because of, winning so many games in a row. But they got shellacked by the Steelers. So no, I guess maybe still calling him fired by default is a little harsh. But I still think he's gone. So no, I wouldn't really change anything there. I would say got the guys on the lukewarm I still feel good about. Chili, I think I would move Todd Bowles up to at least lukewarm based on what's happening with the Bucs. Because I don't think he's ever been that great of a head coach. I just think he's kind of been there. And now that the Buccaneers no longer have that stranglehold on the division, they could still win it, but we'll see. And then what else do I have at the end of the real Super Bowl contenders? So I had real contender: Broncos, Rams, Lions, Niners, Packers. Packers might have to move down. Bills, Seahawks, Patriots, and then I think Chargers. I got to scroll a little further. Chargers, and yeah, that rounded it out. Ravens at maybe. And then fake contenders: Buccaneers, Bears, Eagles, Steelers, Texans, Chiefs, Panthers, Colts, Jags. No, I feel good. I think I can stick by that for at least another week. That feels good to me. Ragnarok with 5 said, who is your Royal Rumble pick? Personally, give me our Lord and Savior Ilya Dragunov to face Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. I love that. I'm an Ilya stan, absolutely. Yes, that's what I want. I don't know, unfortunately, if Ilya is getting the crowd reaction that warrants a Rumble victory. It seems like especially in the Triple H era, they very much go off of the momentum that a guy has and the crowd reaction they're actively getting. We've still got, I guess we don't have that much time. Rumble's next month? I would love to see it. I doubt it. Joseph with 199 said, Evans, Rice, Pearsall, Addison, pick 2. Evans, Rice, Pearsall, Addison. Evans and Rice. I don't really even need to look at that one. Evans was supposed to be eased back into things, and he got 12 targets and over 100 yards, and now I believe he's facing the Dolphins this week. Rashee Rice, I know he's going to have Gardner Minshew now, but is facing the Tennessee Titans. Pearsall sounds like is banged up and not going to play. And Addison is Just starting Jordan Addison is not a championship maneuver, just in general. It's just not a guy that you feel good about starting. One spicy meatball with $2 said, is it worth putting Mason in the flex over AD? Oh, boy. Folks, how are we, respectfully, of course, how are we still asking fantasy football questions like that at this point in the year? And what I mean by that is, how are you between those two players and your team is still alive? Like, I don't, it's not computing. So, I mean, this has to be Jordan Mason, right? I assume there's no other, Mason Rudolph, Mason Kinsey. I don't think I'm starting Jordan Mason. I think I would, it's a down bad sort of situation that you find yourself in, but I think I would be starting A.D. Mitchell in that case. Can you add Bengals snow shovelers to Mount Bustmore? I think that's valid. Jake with 5 said, yo, you, Bran, are the Giants GM. Do you trade the number 1 pick for a haul and see if you can get a star, or do you draft at number 1? If so, who? I think if you're the Giants and you get the number 1 pick, anytime you have a quarterback and there is a quarterback that it seems like teams are going to be kind of clamoring for, like Mendoza, I assume, is going to be, I think you trade it. I think there's going to be enough demand, especially with all the teams that are going to need a quarterback this offseason. Both bad teams that are like just desperately looking for a quarterback to kickstart things, but also teams that kind of have some pieces and are just looking for a quarterback to insert in there. I think there's a lot of teams that are looking for that position. So, yeah, I think I would definitely trade it in that case. All right, let me get these off of here. All right, general chat here. What do we got here? Let's see. Animation Tronic said, you missed last week with one of the biggest bust performances from Jalen against the Chargers. He put up 0.22 points for me. Did we not have Jalen on Bustmore? Did we not? I could have swore we did. Please find a necromancer to revive Pat. I want my last word to him to be thanking him for his time on the podcast, not bald plus old plus bad spine plus ratio plus bald. What are your playoff and Super Bowl predictions? So my Super Bowl prediction from before the season, I'll let you guys in on this because I don't hide from my bad takes. Before the season, I had Eagles-Ravens. Granted, it seems like both those teams are at least going to make the playoffs, and I am notorious for my Super Bowl prediction preseason ending up having at least one team not make the playoffs. Now, the Ravens are not a lock, but it does seem like they're going to make it at least right now. My Super Bowl prediction right now, I am going to say the Rams get in out of the NFC. I think that's fairly easy. And I'm going to say the Patriots get in out of the AFC. It's so wide open in the AFC that it's like if you were to say, oh, you have to pick the Patriots or the field, obviously I'm picking the field. But there's no reason for me to not pick my team. They look good. Lost to the Bills sucks, but like that was a competitive game. And I think expecting the Patriots to sweep the Bills anyway, probably unrealistic, even though in the first half it looked very realistic. I am going to go with that as the Super Bowl, though, and I'm going to say the Rams win it. I will pick against my team in the Super Bowl, not against my better judgment, but against my better desires, I guess. Speaking of, Mr. Shadow with 499 said, not a Q&A question, but I'm curious to hear a recap of Patriots versus Bills, which could potentially be the AFC Championship game for this season. Yeah, that's totally fair. A recap of the game, obviously I watched the whole game. You can only hold Josh Allen down for so long. I think the Patriots got really good pressure on him in the first half, and that was kind of a big part of it. The Patriots offense, it's such a game of momentum, man. Like the Patriots offense in the second half, the Patriots offense in the first half could seemingly do no wrong. Patriots offense in the second half, outside of Travion breaking that run that looked like it was stopped at the pile, and he just kind of, said goodbye, I'm going to go over here instead, and broke it for a 70-yard touchdown. Like the Patriots offense did not really get anything going in that second half. I think it's just a matter of experience and getting reps against these good teams. And the more they do that, the more they're going to be ready for those moments when they come. It's just the Bills are an experienced ass team, man. It's like Josh Allen, every time he threw the ball in that second half, it's like I knew something good was going to happen for the Bills when he did it. It's like, because obviously you can't see, the receivers or the DBs or whatever's happening off of the screen. But it was like every time he wound up with the ball, I was like, I didn't like it because I was like, I knew he was going to make a good decision. So, yeah, I think we got the better of them in Buffalo early in the year, and they got the better of us here. And both teams are dealing with pretty significant injuries as well. The Patriots, a big one is, I feel like a lot of people overlook, and this is not to make excuses for the Patriots, because I know the Bills were without Benford and Bernard and all that, but I think a lot of people overlook when teams are missing guys, A, on defense, and B, specifically on like the defensive line, because it's just not a position that gets highlighted that much unless it's a super duper sack artist like a Micah Parsons kind of guy. Patriots have been missing Milton Williams for a month now, and Milton Williams was our big free agent signing from the Eagles, big boy up the middle, helped the Patriots have one of the better run defenses in football up to this point. And now, without him, it has been bad. So he is expected to come back, hopefully, week 17. He's eligible to come back. And then, obviously, we're missing Will Campbell on offense as well. So I think the NFL largely is a game of attrition. The healthiest team often ends up winning the whole thing. And if the Patriots can get healthy, I feel good about it. R Dubs with 5 said, what do you think the playoff picture is going to look like next year with how weird this year has been? That's a good question. Now, I think you look at the teams that have underperformed. It's so hard to say right now, right? Because all these teams that came into the year with really high expectations and are falling short of them. you know they're going to be motivated to change things next year, right? So I think the Chiefs are going to be a tough one because unless Mahomes is ready for week 1, which this is a 9-month recovery, so that puts him, let's say, in September 16th. He would miss 3 weeks of the season, and that's if everything goes right. I guess he could return earlier on some John Cena shit, but I think the Chiefs are going to be kind of in the same spot where I think they'll make the playoffs. I don't necessarily think they'll win the division. Bengals will be an interesting one, what they do with Burrow. I do think, though, this year is largely a changing of the guard. Like, I think a lot of the teams we're seeing make the playoffs and be a high seed are going to continue to be there. Like, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Liam Cohen's doing an awesome job, and Trevor Lawrence is actually playing good ball for the first time in a long time. So I think we're going to see a lot of similar teams. I could see the Commanders getting back with Jaden healthy. But yeah, I think I don't think we're going to go back to like what happened last year or anything like that. I think this is going to be largely indicative of the future here. Let's see. Rams are my favorites to win the Super Bowl. Oh, Animationtronic said there's no video from last week when he played the Chargers for Bus Anonymous. Yes, true. Bus Anonymous, I have not addressed. I haven't done a Bus Anonymous video for like a month. And the reason for that is I don't want to. No, for anybody who's followed me the last like 3 years, you know that I've been trying to do different things with Bus Anonymous. I've done different formats. I've done it like horizontally on YouTube. I've gone back to doing it vertically. I've gone from doing a bunch of players to only 5 players. I've tried to do so many different things. What Bus Anonymous has really boiled down to is it's become too formulaic and it's not fun for me to do. That does not mean it's dead. I am fully planning, and this is something I've toyed around with for years. I think we're just finally at the point where I'm actually going to do it. Bus Anonymous is going to be a more special occasion sort of video, so 100% planning to do one for the end of the season to kind of wrap up the fantasy season. But as far as a weekly sort of thing, I don't think it's going to happen anymore. We're going to do, every year, we're going to do one after week 1, I would assume, because week 1 is often where you learn kind of the most about the priors that you had during the offseason, guys you thought were going to be good, who ended up not being good, and all of that. It's kind of just going to be as needed that I'm going to do them. So again, Bus Anonymous, not dead, but it's just, I don't know, man. I'm so much more passionate about other videos. And the more passion I have for a video, the better they're going to come out. And that's just how it is. So I appreciate all you guys that know me for Bus Anonymous and love the series. It's not going away fully, but it is going to take a bit of a backseat here. Random dude said, Bran, here's a hot take. If not for injuries, the Niners would have won 2 Super Bowls by now. Probably. Yeah. I mean, the year that they literally had Christian McCaffrey playing quarterback in an NFC title game, I think you could definitely argue that they could have done it that year. R-Dubs with $2 said, what are your MVP and Rookie of the Year predictions? So, MVP, Drake didn't, I don't know that Drake hurt his case this week. I mean, he ran for 2 touchdowns. Let me look. I'm going to look at, so obviously Drake and Stafford are the big ones. Taylor is totally out of the discussion, which is, I mentioned this, how this can happen. Like, if he doesn't keep up the unsustainable 3 touchdowns every other week sort of production, then you're not going to get MVP out of him. So Stafford, 368, 2 touchdowns a pick. I'll say Stafford wins it. I think Stafford wins it. And then Offensive Rookie of the Year. Travion Henderson's actually the favorite now. I'm going to go with Henderson. In Defensive Rookie of the Year, I really don't know who's in the mix for it, truthfully. I would assume Schwessinger and Nick Eamon-Worry are probably both heavily in that combo. So probably one of them. We also got 0 QB Club videos. QB Club is such a broad sort of video that I do. It's like I have videos with quarterbacks in them, and like sometimes it's only a couple, and then sometimes it's like several. QB Club is one that I'm always trying to think of ways to bring back, though, because it is so versatile, I guess. But yeah, I mean, those are not dead by any means. Really missing weekly award. What is this? Is this the I miss videos you don't do anymore live stream? I appreciate you guys. Look, here's the thing. As a creator, I never want to get stagnant. I never want to feel stale. I never want to feel like I'm doing things just to do them. And when a video starts to feel that way, that's when I know it's time to move on. Because I need to wake up every day, be excited about what I'm going to make, and that will reflect in the content and make the content better. So if you enjoyed weekly awards, I appreciate you. Absolutely. Because, I mean, look, I loved that idea at first. I loved doing it for probably a month or so. And then it got to a point where I was like, I just want to do other stuff. I like mixing it up. Eliminated quarterback club coming back for the playoffs? Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you think Tyreek gets released? What is Tyreek's contract situation? Tyreek, where's the dead cap? Where's the dead Caparino? So Tyreek dead cap, if he gets released, is 28 mil. That is kind of steep. I don't know how the injury affects that. I don't think it really does. Could be wrong. Yeah, I mean, one way or another, I think Tyreek has played his last game as a Dolphin. I don't know how. I don't know how they make that happen, but Beroder with $4.99 said, where do the Dolphins go from here? Cut Tua, trade Tua. What team would even want Tua? That's a great question. Tua has opened up the Pandora's box of teams should be questioning whether they should pay quarterbacks top dollar when they're not top tier. Contracts like his happen, and people are like, well, I guess that just kind of had to be. Like, they couldn't afford to let him go, you know? Like, they're not going to just get rid of a guy who they've had some success with and just go to the Wolves and try to find somebody new who could work out or could not work out. But I think if your options are pay Tua $50 million or try to draft a rookie, I'm drafting a rookie. I know teams won't think that way, but let's see. Tua's deal, $31 million in dead cap if they cut him. Well, $31 million next year, and then 18, and then 5. I mean, they could cut him. Like, they could cut him. It would be a Russell Wilson sort of situation. Like, now we have precedent for it happening. Before the Russ thing, we really didn't. But the Broncos cut him with, like, what, $90 million of dead cap? I think it was actually, might have been over 100 that they were going to have to pay him. And they did it. And look where it got them. They are already the best team, arguably, in the AFC 2 years later. Like, those are the kind of hard decisions you have to make to try to move forward, especially if the Dolphins are going to hold on to Mike McDaniel. They cannot go into another season with Mike McDaniel and Tua. That would be devastatingly bad for them. Like, really, really bad. HV3 Vikings fan, $10, said, how is this for a new fantasy football league? The Mulligan League, where every week before the end of Monday Night Football, you can reverse up to one roster mistake and get those points back. Interesting. That's kind of best ball-y. I mean, best ball is a format, but I see what you mean. It's like a baby version of best ball, where you can kind of just get one guy in there. I think that would honestly be more helpful, like just to not necessarily that you missed out on a guy on your bench that scored 20, but just to get anyone out of your starting lineup that scored like 2 or 3, because inevitably that'll happen to even good players a few times throughout the year. So if you could just get that guy out and get a guy in who scored 10 or 11, I feel like most weeks you'll have something like that. That would probably that'd probably help you quite a bit throughout the year. Obviously, your opponent's going to be able to do it too, but I think that's interesting. I could see that catching on for sure. To be fair, Burrow is creating the question of if we should pay quarterbacks even if they are top tier. I don't think the Burrow deal is what is holding the Bengals back. Obviously the Bengals have struggled to put together a team around him, but it's been done before to a better degree than what the Bengals are doing it. Like, the Bengals have just been not good at drafting, not good at scouting, not good at finding bargain players in free agency. Their entire roster outside of their quarterback, 2 receivers, running back kind of, and Trey Hendrickson is trash, and that's unacceptable. Like, I understand that the Bengals have a lot of money tied up in not only Burrow, but in guys that Burrow basically demanded they keep, being Chase and Higgins. So, there's an element of dug his own grave there. But there's also, like, it's not impossible to do something like this. Like, trying to see, let me look at who are the playoff teams right now. Like, let's look for playoff teams with good and highly paid quarterbacks, right? Like, I mean, the Eagles. The Eagles are paying guys like crazy. Jalen Hurts is one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. AJ Brown is one of the highest paid. Yeah, so Jalen's making $53 million or $51 million a year. AJ Brown, I think, is making some of the highest money as a receiver. 3 years, $96 million. So he's making $30 million a year, 32. And then I know they're paying. I mean, obviously they're not paying Devonta Smith that much. So Devonta's getting $25 million a year, and then they've got Saquon making like 12, 14, 16. He's making 20. He signed a 2-year, $41 million extension. So, like, the Eagles have a similar amount of money tied up in their offensive pieces as the Bengals do. And look how different those teams are. The Eagles are having a rough year, obviously, by their standards. But you get my point. Like, the Eagles have a very, very talented roster top to bottom, and yet the Bengals are Dookie Butter Magoo. So you got to be better if you're the Bengals. Just got to be. Do you think the Giants actually get the number 1 pick, or do they end up at like 5 or 6? Well, let's see. They're tied for the worst record right now at 2-12 with the Raiders, the Titans, and that's it. And then the Giants' last couple games are against the Vikings, the Raiders, and the Cowboys. I don't think they get the number 1 pick. I like the Giants. I like their core. Man, they've lost. It's crazy. They've lost 8 straight. Jeez, I know they're not a good team, but to see that and kind of remember back with the Dart and Scattaboo like excitement, just kind of crazy to see 8 straight L's, even though obviously Scattaboo's been gone and Neighbors. I think they can beat the Raiders. You never know which version of JJ McCarthy you're going to get this week. They'll lose to the Cowboys. I'd be kind of surprised if they didn't lose to the Cowboys. But let's see. What do the Raiders have the rest of the year? Texans, Giants, and Chiefs. I mean, they're going to lose to the Texans. They're probably still going to lose to the Chiefs, even though it's Gardner Minshew. That'll be a interesting tank bowl at the end of the year. And then the Titans. Titans are playing better ball lately, though. They're scoring some points. Titans have the Chiefs, the Saints, and the Jags. Saints are playing some good ball, too, now. I think the Titans end up with the number 1 pick, if I have to pick. The Giants are next year's Pats. I think that's fair. They got, you get the quarterback in 1 year, and now you're just in kind of that gap year of hoping you can get the coach. I'll be very curious if they can nail the head coach the way the Patriots did. If they can, they could absolutely be next year's Patriots and make the playoffs, because every team is going to be tripping over themselves to try to hire Clint Kubiak this year. I'll be curious to see who actually gets him. But, yeah. Ragnarok with another 5 said, thoughts on Obafemi? I love that Ragnarok is my wrestling question guy. Thoughts on Obafemi? Is he coming up to the main roster too soon, considering the other monsters on the roster, the Browns, etc.? I don't know if he's coming up yet. I know we had like the tease with Drew. It seems like they've been putting Javon Evans on so many matches on Raw and SmackDown lately that it seems like they're going to bring him up first, especially since they got his NXT title match out of the way already that he earned at Deadline? Is that what it was called? In the Iron Survivor match. So I know they like teased him and Drew. I don't know that they're going to bring him up just yet, though. And even if they did, though, I don't think it would be too soon. Fruit by the Foot said, what's your favorite Always Sunny episode? Lexi, how do you know we watched that show? Have we talked about that before? We must have. Favorite Always Sunny episode? We haven't watched it in a while. Trying to think. Let me see. I have such a bad memory for TV show episodes. Like, if somebody said it, I'd be like, oh, yeah, that was a good one. Like, I'll remember it immediately. But you know which one sticks in my mind? And I don't know that it's my favorite, but it's the one with the McPoyles where, like, they turn the bar into, like, a sweat box, or wherever they're trapped, they turn it into just a sweat box, and it's just gross. It's just really gross. Who should Michigan hire as their new football coach? Diddy, because that is their type. Oh, you tweeted it from your Twitter. That makes sense. Knight the Mite with $2 said, thoughts on the CFP playoff system slash picture. I overall, I like it. Sorry, you guys are probably hearing me scratch my ear in the mic. Overall, I like it. I think this idea that it seems like the big wigs, the big heads of the committee, or not of the committee, of the media, want these at-larges to just not be involved. They're like, well, why are we putting James Madison and Tulane in when they're just going to lose? We should have Texas and more SEC. Shut up. No, if you don't have a playoff system that allows a path for the group of five, you're basically just saying they're not even a D1 team. Like, if you're a D1 team, you need to have a realistic opportunity to win a championship. You need to. Like, if there's no path, there's no point. So, and I understand you might say, well, they need to build themselves up just on their own accord, and then if they get up to a high enough ranking, like, then they'll be included because, they're not excluded because they're in the group of five. They just don't get an automatic bid. I get that. But they still need to have that representation on a national stage just so that you can kind of get that ball rolling and hopefully build up that program over time. So I don't have an issue with it. I would understand maybe slightly larger expansion of the college football playoff. Like, I would be okay. I think you get to a point where you have to stop. But I think if we get to 16, I think we can call it a day there. And I think we're good. Like, I don't know if you do, because obviously with 16 you could just do no buys. I don't know if you would do no buys or if you would do, what else could you do? Like, if you couldn't do the top 8 all get buys, because then you would have 12 teams total after the first round, and then you'd have to do more buys again. Yeah, I guess you couldn't do that. But, like, I don't know. Part of me thinks it'd be kind of fun to see Ohio State against, well, that's, no, I guess you'd have to seed it fairly. You'd have to put, like, let's say James Madison and Tulane get in. You'd have to put them as the 15 and 16, because otherwise you're dealing with what we had last year, where, like, Arizona State had, like, the 4 seed or something, and they shouldn't have. Yeah, I'm good with. I don't mind the format. I would be in favor of expansion, though. What else we got here? Which of your NFL fursonas is your favorite to write out and act out? Hold on a second. Sorry, I had something in my mouth. Favorite NFL fursona to write and act out? I mean, Drake May is fun because all I have to do is say Drake May. There are some that haven't come out in a while, like that I haven't used in a while, that I enjoy. I enjoy Amon-Ra St. Brown and just the stoicness and he's basically Batman. I enjoy doing him. Jalen Hurts is kind of similar, although he's a little bit more of like a reserved version than Amon-Ra, I guess. Kirk Cousins is a fun one. Kirk Cousins is fun. I'm excited to be able to be Fernando Mendoza. I feel like he's just Kirk times 10. So, yeah. Alex, the $2 said 26 destination result predictions for Mac Jones and Kyler. Mac Jones, I have stood by the Vikings. I will say, although JJ's playing better. So, like, I don't know. Here's the thing. The bar is always really high for a team to give up on a rookie quarterback this quickly. And so if he keeps stringing together good performances, they're probably going to give him another year, for better or for worse. So, I don't know. The way if he keeps playing okay the rest of the year. I mean, what did he do this past week? Let me get some numbers up here. Minnesota against the Cowboys. Yeah, I don't know, man, because, like, this was the game that everyone was like, oh, 9 was looking great, 9 was dotting them up, and yet 250, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, like, that's good, but it's like, is that his ceiling? If that's his ceiling, I think that's a problem. Last game before this, 163, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Look, he's playing good ball. He's playing good, clean ball. He's not reinventing the wheel. But in a lot of ways, that's what O'Connell asks out of his quarterbacks, is not to reinvent the wheel and just kind of run the offense. So I could see him sticking around. So let me see if I can put Mac Jones somewhere else, because I do think Mac Jones deserves to start somewhere. What's his contract? Is he... Because, like, honestly, the Niners have no reason to want to trade him. All right, I mean, he's on a 2-year deal, so he's going to be under contract. It would have to be a trade. Let's say they do trade him. The Raiders are a dumpster fire. That's probably terrible. I'll tell you what. Nah, they wouldn't do this in division. I was going to say the Rams if Matthew Stafford retires. But they wouldn't. I don't think they would willingly hand what they perceive to be a good quarterback over to their division rival. Maybe the Jets. The Jets don't get Mendoza, and they just get Mac Jones. And then Kyler. So it sounds like Daniel Jones isn't going to be hurt too much into next season. So I don't think the Colts necessarily need a guy like this. I could see Kyler on the Raiders just because it's such a gross fit. I could. I'll say that. A Roth Tick with 199 said, what more does Caleb got to do to be solidly top 10? I think it's just consistency. I mean, what are the top 10 quarterbacks pretty definitively, right? Like you've got Allen, Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow. I'd say Herbert still in there. I'll probably take Dak, Drake, Goff. This isn't necessarily in order. These are just guys. Stafford, obviously, not in order. Stafford's further up. And then there's, I mean, I think it's just consistency because then I think you start to get into a range where like he could definitely crack it. Like Bo Nix, Stroud, Hurts, Daniels. Daniels is just a health thing. How likely will Burrow be traded in the offseason? I would say pretty unlikely because you are going to have to see a team give up a lot for him. The Bengals, I would say, are more likely to blow up everything else than trade Burrow. Omega with 499 said Watson will be on the Browns next year. There's no chance he starts, even though the Browns are the Browns. They're not stupid enough to start him, right? I don't think so. That would be pretty bad. Shador's played okay-ish enough that there's no reason to go back to Watson, who objectively played worse than this most of the time he was playing. Pop and Bop with 199 said Pitts and Lawrence wrecked best ball tournaments. True. Very true. I could not believe what they did. I really couldn't. Gotta go back to the bottom of the comments. Let's see. I know it's months away and would be quite a road trip, but would you ever consider going to the draft this year? Pittsburgh is a beautiful city. Possibly. Pittsburgh's, I mean, how much of a drive is Pittsburgh for me? It's closer than it was when I lived in Denver, I can tell you that much. Let's see, what? Acrisure Stadium. Yeah, I mean, it's 8 hours. I might just fly there if I was going to do it, but definitely a possibility. How legit do you think the Jags are? BTJ comeback. I think the Jags are very legit. I think BTJ is, if this is going to be his role, then he can be okay. I think maybe it was a bit of an adjustment period from him being this alpha receiver that you can line up everywhere and use in all sorts of ways. I think he's a bit of a one-trick pony now, which is okay if they're going to use him like just the X receiver. That's fine. And if he's going to excel in that role, then great. But it's like, you know, he got 7 targets against the Jets, right? 6 targets the game before that. It's just so different from the guy that we thought was going to be 10, 11, 12 target kind of guy. So I don't think it's a comeback in the sense that like getting back to what he was last year. It's more of a settling into his new role situation. So I think he can be good in this role for sure. V2 with $5 said Clayton Kershaw retired this year. How likely will his high school catcher Matthew Stafford join him in retirement? I think it's definitely a possibility. I think I'd put it at like 50-50 right now. And if they win the Super Bowl, I'd put it at like 70-30. Ross with $2 said, I know it's early. Any hot takes for head coach hires? Hot takes for head coach hires. I don't know. I think there's going to be like six or 7 openings. I think Kubiak's definitely going to get one. I don't think you're going to see any crazy names come out of the woodwork like you did with like a college head coach kind of guy or anything like that. And to me, that's what a hot take would be. I think you could see Brian Flores get a crack. I'm going to look at all the coordinators and see who stands out here. Let's see. Offensive coordinators. I think the Jets should just make Tanner Engstrand their head coach and get rid of Aaron Glenn, but what do I know? None of these guys are really standing out. Yeah, I don't know if any current OCs are really going to get, like, maybe Josh Grizzard or Grizzard, however you pronounce it. Maybe, I mean, the Bucks may just promote him to head coach and do what they should have done with Cohen. Look at defensive coordinators. Let's see. I think the Lions, again, they're probably going to get looks for Kelvin Shepard because he's done a great job with that defense this year. Yeah, it kind of seems like a gross head coaching cycle because all the names I'm seeing get floated all the time are these defensive-minded guys who I'm like, I don't know that you want him. Like, Steve Spagnuolo is getting floated, and I mean, God, I hope they get him out of Kansas City. I've been saying that for years. Lou Anarumo, it's like, I don't know, man. I definitely don't have a lot of faith in defensive-minded guys, at least not as much as I would an offensive-minded guy. Let's see who else. Jeff Hafley is one I've seen for the Giants. That's possible. Why does this have Todd Bowles as the Bucks DC? The hell? Did they just not have a DC by title? Like, I know he was like, I knew he was there, basically ran their defense. I didn't know they had literally no defensive coordinator. Huh, they don't. Interesting. I never knew that. Who else is on their coaching staff? I'm down a rabbit hole now. Thad Lewis is their quarterback's coach. Love that. Love that. Charlie Strong is their defensive line coach. Nice. Keith Tandy, special teams assistant. One spicy meatball, $2, said, think anyone hires Jim Bob Cooter? No. Ragnarok with 5 said, Kevin Patullo to the Raiders head coach, so Pat never makes it on the show again. Pat would hurl himself off of the tallest building in a 10-mile radius. It would not be a good scene. Do we re-sign ETN with Toot and LeQuint playing well? Also, Pat should consider YouTube if he doesn't do it. I know. I want Pat to do YouTube eventually. I think he'd be good at it. Pat doesn't have the experience doing like the editing side and like the content, like ideation side. I mean, he not ideation because he's a songwriter. He does like music and stuff. So he's definitely got some of that gene. But it would be, I think, a learning curve for him to start a channel. But I mean, it's like you might as well, right? And yes, I do think the Jags re-sign ETN. ETN's playing too well. I love me some Bayshall Tootin, but like ETN is objectively playing well, and it's really annoying. V2 with 5 said Bengals might be a good fit for a defensive-minded head coach. They have enough talent on the offense that a competent OC should keep it going. That's fair. I think that's fair. All right. Will Justin Jefferson get to 1,000 yards this season? I don't know how many he has. 832. I'll say yeah. Needs 170 over 3 weeks. I'll say yeah. I'll have some faith in Jefferson. I mean, God, man, his last 3 games are so bad. Justin Jefferson, arguably the best receiver in the game of football. His last 3 games has 4 yards, 11 yards, and 22 yards. Brother. He normally has that on a drive, like separate receptions of 4 yards, 11 yards, 22. That is insanity. Let's see. Carolina said, what do you think is going to happen to Bryce Young next season? Really want you to read this, want your opinion. I think Bryce is doing enough to stick around. So there was a point where I thought they were like going to move on from Bryce. Bryce is a very up and down quarterback. Like, against the Rams, 200, 3 touchdowns, no picks, good game. This week against the Saints, 163, 1 touchdown. Not really doing a whole lot to elevate the team. I think he's a guy where the Panthers aren't going to have a clear upgrade available at the quarterback spot. And especially if they make the playoffs, like it's going to be hard to justify moving off of Bryce. So I think they'll keep him. I don't think he's going to be a great quarterback in this league. I don't. I think he's got a cap on him. which is unfortunate. But yeah, I think they probably hold on to him. Which quarterback will have the most passing yards? What are we looking at right now? Dak's got a lead by 200 yards with 3 weeks left. I mean, that's pretty compelling to be able to just hold on to that. Cowboys have to play the Chargers, Commanders, and Giants. I'll say Dak. Dak's not gonna give up a 200-yard lead with those teams left to play. How do I get in the Vampire League next year? We will do sort of a recruiting push, I don't know, when we get closer to the season. Whoever wins it this year gets an automatic spot, and then we will figure it out after that who else we're going to get in. But it'll probably be a similar situation of just like, write to us, let us know why you want to get in, and we'll give priority to people who obviously weren't in this past year and all that. It is hot in here, man. I have a space heater in here now, and it is just doing work. Why is my phone dinging? Steven said, Evans as wide receiver 1. Who's my best wide receiver 2 for the chip? DK, Jacoby, MHJ, Debo, or Booty? I would say DK. DK's playing well lately. DK's playing really well lately. Ragnarok said, who's your favorite NXT prospect who hasn't been on main roster TV yet? I'm a massive supporter of Charlie Dempsey specifically. So I don't watch NXT weekly. I kind of just keep up with who's down there. So there are guys that like kind of go under my radar sometimes. I'm excited for this Evolve girl that I saw, Layla Gray, I think is her name. I love seeing when guys and girls just like rise up the ranks really fast. For her to go from Evolve champion to Iron Survivor is fucking crazy. So I'm excited to see what she's all about. You're also in long sleeves, ding dong. Listen, man, this shirt is very thin. This is a very thin shirt. There's not a whole lot going on here, and there's no layer underneath. So it is not contributing that much. However, I will roll the sleeves up just on the chance that it is contributing more than I anticipated. Where will Gruden be coaching next year? Barstool. If he comes out of retirement to coach, especially if it's the Raiders, that'd be very funny. And I think he should, kind of. I feel like Bryce is greatly dependent on the play calling more so than most quarterbacks. Yeah, I think that comes with the territory of being a shorter quarterback and an inconsistent quarterback. Like any quarterback you say that about just kind of means they're not a guy that's going to propel a team to great heights on their own, if that makes sense. No pun intended. It's a black long sleeve, absorbs it way more than you'd think. Well, that's probably fair. I'm just getting naked. Just do this shirtless. Thoughts on the poor utilization of Matthew Golden? I don't know that he's ready for other utilization. I mean, I can't say I've watched Matthew Golden tape super closely. I will say I know he's been hurt for part of the year, and I think the adjustment to the NFL is probably just more than he expected. Like, if you can't trust a guy to run certain routes, if they felt like they could trust him to do more, I think they would be doing more with him because it's not like they have a surplus of great receivers. V2 with 5 said, honestly shocked at how good Drake May is because he was my favorite quarterback prospect of the 2024 draft, and I'm really bad at evaluating quarterback prospects. Hey, man, broken clock's right twice a day. But, yeah, no, I thought Drake would be good. I didn't think he'd be this good. I thought he could be, but I never thought he would be better than Caleb Williams. Thought he'd be better than Jaden, but... What are your thoughts on the Bills coming back and beating the Patriots? Depression. Thank you. What else we got here? Feel free to ask me anything, guys. Anything about anything, football, fantasy football, life, bagels, Captain Crunch, no politics, music, dogs. I don't care. I'm here. I'm here to be your little question daddy. Think any team should be in for Mike McCarthy? I think teams will be in on McCarthy. Yeah. Favorite bagel? Everything bagel. Favorite energy drink that isn't Ghost? Oh, God, I drink a lot of Ghost. I love Bang, or at least I used to. I haven't drank it in years because 300 milligrams of caffeine versus 200 is a big difference, and I don't like to funnel my body full of 300 milligrams too often. So, I go to 200. But, yeah, I guess probably Bang. Bang is the former go-to. Any good single-player games you've been into lately? I want to start Expedition 33, but I don't know if I want to cry after work. I don't really play single-player games like that. I want to start eventually because, you get to a point when you're my age where it's like the cracked kitties on COD and Fortnite. You just can't really compete with them anymore unless you, make it your full-time job. So, yeah, I definitely want to get into some eventually. So if anybody has recommendations, feel free to drop them down. Favorite NFC team? Probably the Lions. Dad was a Lions fan, so big Lions. Thoughts on the current NIL landscape and the transfer portal? Needs tweaking. I think everybody knows it needs tweaking. There needs to be some kind of regulation, and I think the transfer portal, honestly, I think the coaching situation in college also needs to be fixed because Lane Kiffin leaving before the playoff is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. But yeah, I just think there needs to be more regulation on it and get us to a point where the model's a bit more sustainable because it is not right now. It's going to bubble over. Follow up on Drake May. The lazy comp is Brady 2.0, but statistically he reminds me more of a prime Kurt Warner. You watch him more. Is this off? I can't really speak to Kurt Warner, truthfully. I didn't watch a lot of Kurt Warner. He's a little bit before me. I think obviously the lazy comp being Brady 2.0, there are things watching Drake that do remind me of Brady in the sense of he's always willing to make the right decision. He never really seems to be sped up by the defense. He never really seems to be making the wrong decision. He's deadly accurate in the middle of the field. He'll take the check down all day if you let him. So I think the comp of a more mobile Brady just without the... Here's the thing. Comparing a guy to Tom Brady is a disservice to the guy you're comparing him because nobody's Tom Brady. But I think those sort of tendencies are definitely Brady-esque. What we don't know is Brady-esque yet is does he have that clutch gene? Does he have that just overwhelming competitive spirit? I think we have reason to believe he could. We don't know that yet, and it's impossible to know that this early into his career. So we'll see. But play style-wise, I do see some Brady. Kurt Warner, I believe Kurt Warner was a little bit more mobile than Tom, right? Tom was just not a mobile guy. He didn't need to be, but Drake's mobility is the biggest difference between him and Brady. No, Kurt wasn't that mobile. Kurt was most rushing yards he ever had in the season with 92. So, who would I put as a real Drake comp? Because I feel like mobile Brady is kind of the answer there. I do. Potato chips power rankings. I don't eat potato chips that much. However, I do have some thoughts. Cool Ranch Doritos are the best. Don't like barbecue chips. Maybe that's a hot take. Let's see. I like the thicker potato chips, the ones you get that aren't necessarily a name brand, because Lay's are just paper thin. I like the big thick boys you get that are just your local grocery store brand, whatever they are. I'm a big fan of those. Yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Next best backup quarterback to do a progressive ad. Oh, I love the backup quarterback ads. Let me see. They got a lot of good ones this year. They added a lot of guys. I think it's a surprise that Gardner Minshew hasn't done one yet. I would say Gardner Minshew for sure. Let's see. I could see Trey Lance doing one. Maybe Trey Lance gets a starting job this year, though. Obviously, you got to look at guys who are career backups. I'll say Drew Lock. I don't think Drew Lock's done one. I'll go with Drew Lock. Malik Willis seems good for one. That's fair. Why is Lamar falling off? Is it actually the running back age cliff? I don't think so. I don't think he's been healthy for weeks. He hurt his lower body. If you've noticed, he hasn't practiced on a Wednesday in 2 months because they're trying to manage this injury that I don't think we truly know what it is yet. And so Lamar not having his trademark mobility is not helping. It does bring up the question of when he does start to lose some of that mobility, what it's going to look like on a regular basis. But I feel like when that time comes, he'll be more ready and willing to adjust his play style versus right now he's just trying to get back to the old version of him because he knows he still can. When he gets to a point where it's like, okay, my legs are going, I'm getting older, like I think he'll be able to adjust his play style knowing that that's the reality of what he's dealing with. Right now I just don't think it's his reality. Ghost of Tsushima is a really great single player game. I've heard of that one. Benny says, what do you think about seeding being based on record, not division? Meaning division leaders still get in, but don't automatically get a home playoff game. I'm in favor of that. I don't think you necessarily deserve a home playoff game just because you went 9-8 in a bad division. So I'm with you there. Why do you hate the Broncos? Why do you think I hate the Broncos? Why do you think I hate the Broncos? I don't hate the Broncos. Not that much. I don't love the Broncos, but NB with $4.99. Thank you, man. Said, Bran, I'm headed down to Indiana, bro. I guess my first college basketball game. You guess? What do you mean you guess? This against your will? CMU versus Valparaiso. That's an interesting matchup. I feel like I've heard something good about Central Michigan. I don't know if maybe I'm tweaking on that, but I follow college basketball probably closer than any other sport outside of the NFL. So I follow like a lot of college basketball writers and stuff. I feel like I remember seeing them talked about in some sort of way where they had like a good player or something. I don't know. Central Michigan stats, basketball. I could be totally wrong. Well, they're 3-7, so clearly they're not that good. Nathan Clairbout is their best player. Okay. Oh, they also have Fat Brooks. I actually think this might be who I've heard of. They also have Nick Mullen, not to be confused with Nick Mullins. Where was Fat Brooks? Oh, he was at Michigan last year and averaged 0.8 points per game and now averages 9.3. Very nice. Very nice. Do you think Phillip Rivers has a realistic chance to take the Colts to a playoff berth? Yes. It's going to be dependent on the rest of the Colts roster, obviously. But let's see. They're 8-6. My concern is that their schedule is hard. 49ers, Jags, Texans is not an easy way to end the season. I'm going to say it doesn't happen, but it could. I mean, cop-out answer, but my prediction is that it doesn't happen. Is it possible? Yes. Best sports moment you've seen live and in person? I mean, I've seen championships in person that are kind of hard to beat. Like I saw the Nuggets win their first title in person. I saw UConn win their title in person in 2023. So those are my favorite moments personally because it's my team winning a championship. But as far as like an iconic moment that happened, 2018 Women's Final Four, I saw Notre Dame win a national championship on a buzzer beater from Arike Ogunbowale. That was insanity. I saw in like 2011 or 12, the Yankees hit 3 grand slams in a game and won 23-8, I think it was. So that was pretty lit. Trying to think of anything else. Broncos Colts Thursday Night Football, 12-9 overtime game between Matt Ryan and Russell Wilson. That was pretty banger. Ironically, I do actually enjoy the fact that I was there because it's just such a funny memory. Broncos aren't your favorite Denver team. Clearly that means you hate them and want Bo Nix to be fired into the sun because sports fans. Yeah, I don't think Bo Nix is that good, but that doesn't mean I think he's like a total trash can. Did you just say you're a Nuggets fan? I am a Nuggets fan. I am. I know people, I have to continue to explain my fandoms to people because it doesn't make a lot of sense on the surface, but that is the situation. Daria Ogunbowale's sister. Yes, true. Arike is better than Dare, but yes, Daria Ogunbowale's sister for anybody who's only familiar with the NFL. Yes, that is very true. Let's see. How often do you game and what have you played most? I am a pretty basic gamer. I play a lot of COD. I play a lot of, or used to play a lot of Fortnite. It's mostly COD nowadays. It's mostly zombies, though, truthfully. Playing multiplayer on Black Ops 7 because it's actually fun, even though Black Ops 7 is getting shit on. But zombies is kind of my my go-to. I'm trying to get into Arc Raiders soon because I've heard so many good things about it. Saw a good question here. I love Drake May said, first of all, great username. Said, if you had to rank all the quarterbacks from the 2024 and 25 draft classes, how would you rank them? All right, let me do this. QB classes by year. Okay. 24 is obviously way more loaded compared to 25. So I would go Drake May, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Cam Ward, Bo Nix, Jackson Dart, I mean, does it really matter after that? Tyler Shuck, probably. Penix, McCarthy, Shador, Rattler, and then I guess that pretty much covers it. Timothy said, hey, Brandon, I've been watching your shorts for a long time, and I love some of your videos. I'm not going to bullshit you. I don't watch all the videos, just all the shorts. That's fine. I don't care. I don't care how anybody enjoys my videos, man. And as long as if you're watching and supporting, you're good by me. I don't expect anybody to enjoy everything. Like, I get people in my personal life that are like, hey, man, like, I'm very happy for you, but like, I don't really watch it. I'm like, dude, why would I expect you to watch? I don't even watch like my kind of content. Like, I watch sports skits, but like, the type of stuff I put out long form on YouTube, like I don't sit there and watch other people do like tier lists of things, but like I get enough people that like watching me do it, so I do it and I enjoy making them. But I don't blame anybody for the way they enjoy things. Bo Nix and Ward over Dart, interesting. That's only because of the injury issues with Dart. Truthfully, I like Dart a lot, but he needs to stop getting himself hurt. I saw a stat. He's been evaluated for a concussion like 5 times this year. Like, buddy, I love the play style, and I know it adds a dynamic to his game that not a lot of people can replicate, but like, you gotta stop getting yourself hurt. Advice for cross shooting? It's something I need to improve on with my shorts. What do you mean, Alex? What do you cross shooting? I'm not familiar with the term, although I'm sure I know what the concept you're talking about. I enjoy everything you do. Everyone else is wrong. Thank you, Harry Bingus. I agree. Brandon, how dare you not answer me who has the tiniest hands in the NFL? I don't, because it's a factual thing. I don't know. Look it up. I'd probably Pickett, right? I think Pickett's the only one I remember getting like totally blasted for it. Oh, like to make sure the characters look like they're talking to each other? I mean, I line up all of my shirts that I'm going to use, because like I change shirts for each character. I line them up all around the room. So like I know this guy's going to be over here, throw it there. I know this guy's going to be over there, throw it there, throw it over there. And it's about which side of your face kind of the camera is pointed towards. So like if I'm over that side of the room and my guy I'm talking to is over on that side of the room, like, you have to film one with your right side of your face kind of facing the camera like this, and you have to film the other one with your left side of the face here. Obviously, when you add more characters, it gets a little more convoluted, but as you add more, it almost matters a little bit less. I prioritize which characters are going to talk to each other the most and make sure those guys are appropriately oriented. And then if, I have, depending on the orientation of the room, if I have a line or so of characters talking and they're both facing this way, that's fine. It's whatever. People really don't care that much. It's more for my own obsession, Have you ever seen the Drake Maylover tweets? Of course I have. Henderson or Marks? Oh, hi, Dave. I thought this was like a question just about those two in general. I mean, Marks is banged up, seemingly. I keep seeing shit about Jawar Jordan. I think we're past the point of being able to bench Travion, truthfully. Patriots have the Ravens. Oh god, why did the Texans have such easy matchups? Excuse me. I would go with Travion. I think us getting Henderson and the Browns getting Judkins is payback for 2018. Yeah, this was not looking good the first month of the season. I was like, oh no, they did it to us again. They got the Chubb and we got the Michelle. 6 out of 10 burp. Yeah, you think I was trying to... Brother, I have some of the loudest burps you will ever fucking hear in your life. I'm just not trying to amp it up on the stream here because I have some class. Not a lot, but some. Little bit. Drake May's son or Josh Allen daughter? Drake May's son, obviously, and Drake May daughter. How was the WrestleMania 40 experience last year? It was fun. I mean, WrestleMania is always fun. The overall experience of it being in Vegas was kind of for me because I don't drink, I don't gamble. So it was kind of like a few days of just like seeing the attractions and finding good places to eat and all that, which Vegas has a decent number of things. But it's just so expensive to be in Vegas, bro. I will tell everybody this that will listen. Like, the hotel we stayed in, or it might have been the hotel we were attached to, but we went to go to a Johnny Rockets one night to get food, which was a burger place. And a combo of burger, fries, and drink was $28 each. So yeah, they will upcharge you out the ass for no reason just because it's Vegas, which I get. The whole point of being in Vegas is to spend money. But as far as the wrestling stuff itself, I mean, it was fun. I thought it was a solid show. Do you believe JSN can break the receiving record? What is he at right now? He's got 3 weeks left. It's gonna be tough now. Single season receiving. God damn it! Why did it? Receiving yards record. 1,964. I mean, obviously he can, right? But he needs about 400 yards in 3 games against the Rams, Panthers, and Niners. I'm going to say he doesn't do it. He can, of course, but I'm going to say he doesn't. Nightmare Patriots playoff matchup. Let's see. So, Patriots are going to get a top 3 seed. I really don't want to face the Texans. I don't. That defense scares the ever-living shit out of me. I don't like it. If there's any defense that can just totally neutralize us and an offense that is sort of clicking a little bit better lately, yeah, I don't want to face the Texans at all. I'd rather face the Colts. I think I'd rather face the Ravens. I'd rather face the Bills. I'd rather face the Chargers. It's going to be tough either way. Either way, you're getting a team with no playoff experience trying to hold it down. Richard with 5 said, thoughts on the Cena retirement tour? I found it as terrible as my Lions losing to the Vikings. I hate you, Brad Holmes. I think it left a lot to be desired, but I also don't think it was bad. I think, yes, there was so much more they could have done to make it a better run. But I try to look at it from a perspective of, I'm glad we got the run at all, and I'm glad that within the run, a lot of the individual matches and moments were really cool. Like, most wrestlers don't do a retirement tour, right? Most wrestlers just are like, hey, I'm done, or they might come back for one match or one feud or whatever it is. So I don't want to overlook the fact that we got it in general, and that things like the heel turn, which was such a cool moment, even though it wasn't followed up on the right way, were awesome, and it'll live forever. The match with AJ Styles was awesome. Like, the matches throughout the run were pretty damn good for the most part. So I would give it a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10. Glad we got it. Had fun moments. Wasn't necessarily the most cohesive thing, and in hindsight, definitely would have booked it a lot differently. But for now, I just want to be thankful about what it was. Brock Lesnar is and was useless. Preach. What's the Super Bowl matchup you want? Me personally, I want Eagles versus Bills, Eagles versus Patriots, or Eagles versus Texans. Are you an Eagles fan? Want? Okay, let me just look at the teams I want in, that I would want in, that could realistically happen. I want the Detroit Lions to make a damn Super Bowl already. I want the Lions in the Super Bowl. And who do I want them to face? I mean, the matchup that it would be like whoever wins, I'm just happy, would probably be the Lions and the Jags. I think that would be cool. Kind of similar with Lions and Texans. Don't want the Steelers in there. Chargers would be fun. I'll say the Lions and the Texans. I think that would be a lot of fun. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Texans are peaking at the right time here as well. So again, it's not a prediction. It's not meant to be, but teams I would like to see, yeah, I'd go with that. Have you ever been a Madden guy? I played Madden growing up, obviously, like every kid did, but no, I was never super. I wasn't like going to be a Madden content creator. I never played like Ultimate Team. I just kind of dicked around in franchise mode a lot. Brandon, I've been watching you since 2023, and you are one of my favorites. What is your humble opinion about the Seahawks and what they should do going into Thursday night against LA? Good question. What they should do? I mean, they should win the game. That would be my first thought. No, I think they need to take advantage of the fact that Devontae Adams is out. I think they need to focus on stopping the run game and then just hope that they can neutralize Puka, considering he is the only, not neutralize, but, focus on stopping the run. Let their DBs be like, okay, there's only one real threat out here receiving wise. Hope they can hold up there and, just take advantage of the fact that they won't have the most deadly red zone weapon probably in the league at their disposal. Do a couple more questions and then we'll hop off for the day. I think this was a great little live stream. Glad to hang with you guys on this beautiful Tuesday morning, afternoon, if you're in Europe, I guess. Favorite ice cream flavor? I'm a very basic guy. I like vanilla. Man. Vanilla, mostly because it goes so well with everything else. I'm a big into the toppings. Last wrestling question for me. Coolest wrestling moment you've seen live? For me, it's seeing Cody finish the story. That one was great. I did see that live. Coolest wrestling moment I've seen live, I would say Johnny Gargano winning the NXT Championship, and then Tommaso Ciampa, who was injured, coming out and embracing him, even though the most recent thing we had seen from them was, being in a blood feud with each other. That was really cool. That was NXT the weekend of the Brooklyn Mania? Or New York Mania, I think it was. I think that was TakeOver Brooklyn. Yeah, that was number one for me. And then Kofi Mania was so sick. Imagine trying to stop Puka. I know, easier said than done. I was indeed at TakeOver New York. I was. That was very pre-YouTube, pre-social media content brand. Is the current Texans defense good enough to be top 10 of all time? I mean, I think so. They are murking teams, dude. They're just murking them. Dark Killer with 5 said start 2, Debo, Godwin, and D. Waller. Miami's facing the Bengals, who have known to struggle against tight end, but can't decide if it's worth the risk. I mean, I feel like I like Waller as a play. I think. Let's see. Debo hasn't been very good. Debo's going against the Eagles. Yeah, Godwin now with Evans back is complicated. I think I'd go Godwin and Waller. Were you hard for 3 days in that one vid? For real? Yes. Still am. Mount Rushmore of funniest moments from this season? Oh, God. It's going to be hard to remember. I can think of Darnell Washington just throwing that dude because he's a 400-pound tight end. That was pretty funny. The Jalen Hurts like triple turnover on one play was pretty funny. I don't know. What else? What else do you guys think should be Mount Rushmore of funniest moments from the season? Do you still hate Swift as much as you did earlier? Yes. Arguably even more. Who would you put as coach of the year other than Mike Vrabel at this point in the season? I mean, Steichen was definitely in that conversation until recently. Probably Cohen. Probably Liam Cohen. Ben Johnson's obviously going to be in there. Mike McDonald's going to be in there. I think Cohen has done the best job with... He's done the most with the least. Biggest surprise breakout from this year? Biggest surprise breakout. God, Trey McBride is 6th in the NFL in receiving yards. That is crazy. Biggest surprise breakout, I would say, I kind of think it's Javonte Williams. I kind of thought he was done. And he's played really well. Dowdle, same thing. Not that I thought Dowdle was done, but... Do you think that Kelsey will retire after this year? It's always hard when you're in a situation like that because it's like, do you want to go out on a sour note or do you want to come back knowing that you're going to be even older and possibly worse next year? I would say, yeah, I think he'll retire. He said, what, not JSN? JSN's breakout is surprising, but not like shocking. I think a lot of us knew JSN was a good player. I didn't think he was going to be this good to this degree, but it's not to me like a guy like Javonte who like I just thought was dust. You know what I mean? Where does Genty get drafted next year? Depends what they do this offseason. I could see if the Raiders have enough turnover in both coaching and offensive line and offense in general, I could see him sneaking back into being a first-round pick. It's hard to not have a running back be a first-round pick when they are young, talented, and have no competition. And I do think they'll change enough to kind of warrant it. I think he'll go somewhere 8 to 10-ish next year, if I had to guess. Thoughts on UConn losing Mora? Sucks, but I am happy about the coach we got. Jason Candle from Toledo. Very happy. Make sure I'm caught up on donations. Yes, we are. With the Raiders having a high chance to get the first overall pick, do they go for Mendoza or a lineman like Spencer Fano? I think you got to get the quarterback. I know it sucks to ignore the line, but like this is to me that's the Patriots question from a couple years ago where people were like, well, no, they shouldn't take Drake May, they should take Joe Alt because Drake's not going to have a line even if they do draft. You need to get the quarterback. It's the most important position in professional sports. If you think the quarterback is the guy, you get him. And yes, putting him in a bad situation is not something you want to do, but like it's kind of a necessary evil of like you draft the quarterback and then you try to build things up around him. Thoughts on Jags? Do you think they're contenders or pretenders? I kind of think they're contenders. I think they're getting closer for sure. Should the GOAT Christian Haynes start over Anthony Bradford for the Seahawks? Absolutely. The more Huskies that start, the better. All right, guys. I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Someone said Chris Olave or Tet McMillan at wide receiver 2. Is this for fantasy? Let's see. I kind of know what they both did this week. Olave was pretty good. Saints got the Jets. Tet has the... Where do the Panthers play? Oh, we have 2 Saturday football games this week? Or is that next week? We do have it this week. Also, we're heading into week 16. I'm a dumbass. I said week 15 off the top of the show. I would go with Olave. But I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for tuning in to this not really episode of Brand Coverage, short of just a live stream chit chat. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to go rest my voice for a little bit and then work on some sort of video for today. But this was great. I love you guys, and I will catch you next time. Adios.